Welcome. This is the Citizens Club of Springfield Special Policy Breakfast. And this morning we have with us the Honorable Mike Houston, Mayor of the City of Springfield, Mr. Samuel Johnson, Community Organizer, the Honorable Jim Langfelter, City Treasurer, the Honorable Paul Palazzola, County Auditor, and the Honorable Gail Simpson, Ward 2 Alderman. Thank you for being with us this morning. We're going to have probably three questions. The first one is going to be more of an intro. It'll have a 2-minute limit. The second one will have a 6-minute limit, and the third one will have a 2-minute limit. I have a timer, 2 timers down here in front of us.
And they are 2 timers.
And yes, and they will signal on the 2-minute. They will signal you when there's 10 seconds left. On the 6-minute, they will signal 30 seconds left, and on the last one, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. And so understand that you'll be cut off. Please kind of make your last sentence or two at that point. The first question this morning, I'm going to ask each of the candidates to introduce yourself and perhaps share some thoughts of the campaign so far, and we're going to go in alphabetical order. We'll start with Mayor Mike Houston.
Good morning. Let me ask a question. Is the city of Springfield better off today than it was 4 years ago? In 2011, we were still reeling from the Great Recession. City government was a mess. It was being run as a political operation. The average daily balance in the city's checking account, which pays for all the basic services such as police, fire, and public works, was just over $3.5 million in the red. Our streets were in deplorable shape. Today, city government has been downsized, runs more efficiently, and runs more professionally. The average daily balance is approaching $9 million in this fiscal year, a $12 million turnaround in a 4-year period. My vision is to look at Springfield on a long-term basis. We have embarked on a 3-year, $86.6 million infrastructure program to fix our streets and sidewalks. What you saw last year will be duplicated again this year and next year. We have started a long-term $100 million program to rehabilitate our sewers. Moving the 3rd Street tracks to the 10th Street corridor is critical to the long-term future of Springfield. The results of that move are immeasurable from an economic development perspective and what it will do for safety and transportation. We are currently building an underpass at the 10th and Carpenter Street, and that is the first step. Is the city of Springfield better off than it was 4 years ago? There is no question it is. I'm Mayor Mike Houston, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
I'm going to answer that question for you. Is it better? Does finance, does money make a difference if things are better? When do we put money before humans? That money and finance determines our success if our city is better. When you have children and you have adults, poverty, you have hidden poverty. You have hidden poverty, which I consider white poverty. You have black poverty. Over 50% of the black African Americans in Springfield is in poverty. You have between 30 to 40% of kids, black and white, that are homeless, have nowhere to live. They have nowhere to sleep, sleeping on the floor. You have plenty of people who don't even have jobs, don't even know how to get jobs. Does finance determine where Springfield is? Yes, indeed. Out of the 4 years, Mayor Houston definitely has changed the financial perspective. But what about the human development? When we're talking about economic development, we first have to understand growth economic. In order to have economic development, you have to first have growth economic development first. We've been having a lot of growth, economic development in Springfield, especially on a lot of our poverty sides. But what kind of development and platforms have we had for these people to be able to become better productive people in Springfield? If you have the west side that is at this level, and you have your north side and you have your east side that is at this level, how do you get the east side and the north side up to par with the west side so we can have real, true equality? We have to ask ourselves, what is equality and what is true equality? As what we see in city government right now, we don't see equality and we don't see diversity. Our city has to change, we have to have more unity, and we have to be able to sacrifice for the best interests of everybody. My name is Samuel Johnson.
The Honorable Jim Langfelder.
These are words written from the heart, but by me to stay on time. Good morning. Thank you, Citizens Club, for inviting us today. I'm Jim Langfelder, currently City Treasurer and candidate for mayor. Many of you know me. I'm a lifelong resident of Springfield, graduated from Lincoln Land Community College and Sangamon State University with a degree in management. My wife, Billy, and I have been married for 25 years and have 3 children. Like many of you, I've worked in several local businesses. I worked in high school, worked my way through Lincoln Land Community College, and completed my degree. I worked in banking after that for 14 years. As a banker, I had the responsibility for community reinvestment programs and later worked with small businesses to help them grow in our community. Like many of you, I've been active in our community. I've done everything from coaching youth athletic teams to serving on boards and leading those organizations like the Dana Thomas House Foundation, Springfield Center for Independent Living, Habitat for Humanity, and downtown Springfield. I wanted to go into public service because my dad taught us in order to apply for a job, you should be qualified for that job. So I ran for city treasurer, and I was elected, honored to receive the most votes in 2003, 2007, and 2011. As your city treasurer, I balanced my budget every year without any supplemental appropriations. I achieved national certification through the for city's investment policy. I protected city funds so that protect against fraud measures. I led the way on openness and transparency by providing financial reports online, and I transformed the annual treasurer's report so it's reader-friendly. And I cultivated a customer service philosophy so the treasurer's office works with other departments. I decided to seek the office of mayor because I have the sincere desire and passion to do what's best for Springfield. I want the city to be the model city for others to follow. I believe my private sector experience, my community involvement, and dedication and honesty to do what's best for Springfield gives me the unique qualifications to be Springfield's next mayor. Thank you very much.
Auditor Palazzolo.
Thanks, Bob, and thanks to the members of the Citizens Club of Springfield and to my fellow candidates who are up here as well. And my name is Paul Palazzolo, currently serving as your Sangamon County Auditor. Served in that role for the last 12 years. Born and raised in the city of Springfield. My wife's born and raised in the city of Springfield, and our 2 children born and raised in the city of Springfield. And as I was listening to Mike Houston and Sam Johnson, I want to veer away from my prepared remarks to, as I was listening to them both, I got a sense for really what this role requires. It requires the ability to effectively and efficiently manage and deliver city services. And it requires the ability to have that human touch, that natural ability to promote, work with individuals, lead collaboratively and lead dynamically, and make a difference by leading a team and being a team player and member of a team as well. As I listened to Mike and Sam, I couldn't help but think, I believe that I provide those skills to the role. I believe that I can bring what we need to serve in this role by the virtue of the experiences that I've had, both officially in government as county auditor, working for several state agencies, as well as knowing what it takes in a private business with my wife's family firm, as well as having worked at several local businesses when I was in high school, at the Platter, many of you may remember, or Bridge Jewelry. So I believe I bring what it takes from a management perspective and from a leadership perspective. And that's really what we need in the city of Springfield, to continue delivering city services efficiently and effectively, as well as moving the city forward by inspiring all of our citizens to believe in Springfield. Thank you.
Alderman Simpson.
Can I have some of his time?
Sure. Check with the president.
Good morning, and I also want to thank the Citizens Club for inviting us to speak before you and hopefully provide you with a reason why you should vote for these candidates, but specifically why you should vote for Gail Simpson as mayor. I have a master's degree in administration of justice from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. I've worked for the state of Illinois for over 35 years in management level positions, so I know how to move and direct people. I want to be your mayor because Springfield deserves a committed, experienced, and visionary leader with knowledge and the resolve to turn that vision into a promise of a better and more inclusive city. My vision is not new. When I ran for alderman in 2007, I spoke about many of the issues that other candidates are just now raising. My responses to the then State Journal Register candidate forum addressed the issues that are still paramount today and most can only be completed by a mayor who has the resources, drive, and will to make it happen. Empty promises have been the status quo for Springfield, and we cannot continue doing what we're doing and expect a different result because that's insanity. I am running to make sure that confidence in leadership is restored, residents are re-engaged, Springfield becomes a regional center for economic development. A strong, viable, and thriving Springfield will be beneficial and enhance the quality of life for all of Springfield. My 8 years automatic experience working for the residents of Springfield, my background in human resources and management prepared me with the necessary tools to be a strong and effective voice as the mayor of Springfield. I am decisive and will stand up and fight for issues important to our city. I will work collectively with the aldermen, and that's important to ensure that we are addressing every need in the city. Please consider me, Gail Simpson, for your next mayor of the city of Springfield. Thank you.
Thank you. The question 2 is envision a little bit. It is now early May. You've just been sworn in as the next mayor of Springfield. What are your plans? We will start with Mr. Johnson.
If I was sworn in as mayor in May, some of my first plans would be to meet with every business owner possible, every big organization, little organization possible, meet with the school board, meet with everybody possible in Springfield that has a helping hand in some form or fashion in moving Springfield forward. We have to come together. We have to be able to build an energy. Never once in history have we not seen where unity and working together cannot solve a problem. By just being able to build the relationship and be able to build that positive energy in a city, you can accomplish anything that needs to be accomplished because we learn to respect each other and we learn to be able to meet at a common ground when trying to determine a decision. Right now, our city does not have unity. We do not work together. We have groups that work together on their own, but we have a lot of segregation between each other that is harming the city. Again, I go back to what's true prosperity in a city. What do you determine prosperity? Prosperity is when everybody has some type of equality in some form or fashion. My first round of what I'll do, I would love to go around the city, kind of like what Miss Gail Simpson said. She called it a city tour. A city tour around the city, being able to go and meet with everybody possible, creating that positive energy, because I know it can work, that we can work together and be able to make this city the best city possible and be a city standing up as the household name in the state of Illinois and being the capital of what we should be. That's what I would do first in May.
Thank you. Next, again, it is early May. You have just been sworn in as mayor. What are your plans, Mr. Langfelder?
First, I'd go to church and thank God and thank all my supporters. I'd be elated. But Springfield's a great community, but we want to make it greater. I compare our community to family. You know, I come from a family of 13, and when one's suffering, we all suffer. And that's what needs to happen. We need to build up our community together to make sure we thrive to our fullest potential educationally, economically, and recreationally. So as mayor, I have a platform, my vision, and I believe Springfield is at a crossroads. The status quo is not working. We need to elevate it because we can collectively work together to make our community the model city for others to follow. Being the home of Abraham Lincoln, Springfield should be the model for other cities to follow with regards to race relations. The level of trust must be raised. While working in banking, one of my responsibilities was Community Reinvestment Act Coordinator, where I worked with minorities and the minority community to develop products and market those areas. As mayor, I would work to build the level of trust throughout all our community, but especially with low and moderate income areas and with minorities. More specifically, I would work together, utilizing our collective expertise and abilities to create solutions that are best for Springfield and ultimately unite Springfield. I would implement an anti-discrimination review system for job applications. Rejected minority applicants with similar qualifications to approved non-minority applications would automatically undergo a second review process to ensure fairness. Next, I would establish a school-to-work partnership program with the school district and local trade unions, whereby students learn about career opportunities in the city and the private sector and the prerequisites for hiring. I would also institute a labor review process to ensure contractors fulfill their minority labor agreement requirements. Being the capital city, Springfield should be the model city for other cities to follow with regards to openness and trust in government and public service. As mayor, my first priority will be changing the culture of city government and raising the level of trust within the city council and the public. I will change the culture through my philosophy of open government and public service. To raise the level of trust, I will have an open door policy. I will reevaluate the FOIA process whereby information is provided expeditiously without having to file a FOIA request. I will have all departments follow the Secretary of State's guidelines regarding record retention. I would also have an analysis to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with all the aldermen, each alderman in each ward, and develop a strategic plan for those wards. I would have an annual city council retreat planning session to establish a 1 to 5 year plans for citywide goals, and I would limit executive sessions. Springfield should also be the model city when it comes to economic development and commerce. As mayor, I would develop target employment sectors that best match our community resources with employment sectors so we can attract, retain, and expand current businesses to create living wage jobs. I would also establish a community development finance commission that would work with the Office of Economic Development so we can prioritize TIF projects and TIF areas. That commission would also certify individuals so they are not only business advocates that would retain and recruit businesses, but also be representatives that would have certified development finance professional certification. And then I would create an central information system that would be available to businesses and developers. Next, I would create an adaptive reuse ordinance that makes downtown building renovations economically competitive while maintaining health and safety standards. I would also establish a live-work homeownership program so individuals would have a vested interest in targeted areas. And I would implement a central Wi-Fi zone for downtown, utilizing the downtown fiber optics system that's been in place by CWLP. And then lastly, in that area, I would develop a comprehensive strategy to attract people downtown. Having our own utility, Springfield should be the model city that provides affordable utility rates. As mayor, my priority with regards to CWLP is to return it to its primary mission with regards to providing affordable and reliable water and electricity to the citizens of Springfield. As that, my goals would be to audit CWLP contracts, especially the wind contracts. If the contracts aren't fair to CWLP, we should renegotiate those contracts or cancel them. Second, I would pursue the Memorandum of Understanding regarding the state of Illinois' purchasing of city wind energy. Third, I would audit CWLP's customer base to ensure proper billing. Next, I would analyze CWLP administration services to the corporate fund to streamline services, reduce costs, and duplication. Next, I would examine CWLP's pilot payment formula so it is intended for its funding of the pensions, and if not, I would reduce it to its previous level. And I would expand CWLP's regional customer base, especially in our surrounding communities. My vision for Springfield is to be the model city for others to follow, a city that is competitively and economically successful in the future. Having a comprehensive strategy to make that vision a reality, we can do it and do what's best for Springfield.
Auditor Palazzolo, you've just been sworn in as mayor in early May. What are your plans for the city of Springfield?
Well, after being sworn in, the one thing we won't be doing is redecorating the mayor's office. I don't know whether it's Downton Abbey or Deer Abbey. Either way, we're not going to do that. But after being sworn in, CWLP has to be a priority. We have to keep rates low in order to attract new businesses, new customers, and new residents to the city of Springfield. One of the first things we'll do after being sworn in May is to name members of a volunteer board of directors in concert with the new alderman and allow that volunteer board of directors to serve as an advisory role, excuse me, in much the same way that any major corporation has a board of directors. This advisory board would help us begin initiating the process of finding an entrepreneurial general manager to bring back to the utilities leadership. We'll immediately start that search with those volunteer board of advisors that we will have appointed collaboratively with the council, and that will be one of the first things we do to begin shoring up our situation at our crown jewel, City Water, Light, and Power. Secondly, we need to initiate a city plan for economic development. We need to put a laser focus on growth. We need to begin a process, starting in May, of looking at new ways to shepherd new businesses through the city's regulatory process, whether that involves an interactive portal, whether that involves looking at how we can initiate new processes to help entrepreneurs move through the system. We just need to begin a process to help businesses and entrepreneurs achieve their dreams at the speed of business rather than the speed of government. We need to look at ways that we can attract incubators to the city of Springfield. Incubators are ways that entrepreneurs and innovators come together to share their ideas, bounce ideas off each other, and work interactively to help with startups and ways to attract new products and research to help generate business activity in the particular city in which they're located. We need to put a laser focus not only on economic development, but one of the other first things that we'll do beginning in May is to open the curtain on transparency. And I've already talked about how we will have a team go into each of the 10 wards in the city of Springfield on an annual basis. And in May, after we have an opportunity to begin that process, we will release a full year's calendar of ward meetings and open office hours and weekly news availabilities. Now, I know I get a smile from Alderman Simpson. She believes that I'm stealing that idea from her. Full disclosure and transparency, I'm stealing the idea from the city of Decatur. And when I announced the initiative several months ago, way back in the summer, I believe it was when we opened our headquarters in July, I gave full credit to the city of Decatur and the mayor over there for the idea of bringing his leadership team into the different areas of Decatur to see firsthand and hear firsthand what needs exist and how that team can begin to address those needs. So I understand where you're coming from, Alderman, but Ronald Reagan had a sign on his desk that there's no limit to what a person can accomplish if they don't mind who gets the credit. Infrastructure is next. We would institute a comprehensive audit and review an additional set of eyes and ears from the street to determine needs. As I've said before, we all have our favorite pothole, and we would look at ways that we can review from another additional perspective to make sure that we're efficiently and effectively providing the infrastructure needs that exist within the city. As we have put a laser focus on other initiatives in the city of Springfield, I believe we have to put a laser focus on 11th Street and finish that corridor so that we can connect downtown with our educational center, with UIS and LLCC. Along with that connection, that will also bring additional business opportunities along that corridor as downtown and the educational center are connected, and hopefully that can generate some activity for business as we continue to move eastward from 11th Street for additional business opportunities. And fiscal responsibility. As county auditor for the last 12 years, I come from the level of government that has been successful in developing and cultivating that fiscal responsibility sense with how we deliver services and how we serve the taxpayer. And I try to institute that same kind of a culture into the city of Springfield. But along with fiscal responsibility, we need to immediately begin looking into ways to address the city's police and fire pension situation. We need to have a focus on what we are going to responsibly and how we were going to responsibly reach the funding levels required. We've not heard much about that during this campaign, and I would work to begin a collective search for those answers so that we can begin cultivating what we can do to fulfill that responsibility and make sure that that doesn't plague our city's finances continually until 2040. These are just some of the things that we would do beginning in May, but they would be open, transparent, dynamically and collaboratively set together with the team of aldermen, the city treasurer, the city clerk, and getting input from the community, the educational community, the business community with the chamber, and other small businesses and corporations in the city, and also with the social service community, the religious community, and all aspects of what we need to do to move the city of Springfield forward into its next chapter.
Very good. Alderman Simpson, you have just been sworn in as mayor. What are your plans?
First of all, I'm going to thank all of you for your confidence and your vote in selecting me to be your mayor. My first 60 days, I'm going to take my show on the road. I don't have to ask anybody in any surrounding communities what to do, because as an alderman, when we went to you and told you that we needed to raise your taxes for infrastructure, we took the show on the road. We met with each of you in your communities and explained exactly why that was necessary. You appreciated that because you could see us, we could tell you, you could look at our demeanor, and you could understand that we were working for you. As mayor, I work for the citizens of Springfield. There are many issues that we need to address in the city. We need to specifically address the issues in our older, established neighborhoods. People are hurting. Are we better off than we were 4 years ago? Some are. Most are not. You need to meet me, to know me up close and personal, to understand my commitment, my desire, my vision for the city of Springfield. You need to feel included in any plan that I have. You need to speak to each and every one of my department heads to ask them those very poignant, specific questions that you have with regard to how this city is run and what they're going to do to assist you as citizens of Springfield. We also, in my administration, will begin immediately working toward job creation. The city of Springfield cannot hire everybody. Yes, the city of Springfield needs to work on its hiring process, but we can't hire everybody. That means that we have to work to bring businesses into this community. Now, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We need to work very closely with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Development. They've already got a plan. In 2014, they wrote a plan, the Illinois Economic Development Plan. It includes Central Illinois. Why do we need to reinvent the wheel? We just need to develop the resources that we have at hand and move from there. That may mean restructuring our own economic and planning development here in Springfield, because I don't believe that they're working up to the fullest potential for this city. Illinois has a plan that's called Why Illinois? Springfield needs to have a plan, and will have a plan, Springfield because. We will go out and, as part of an extension of the plan economic development plan that the state already has, we will go out and solicit those businesses that this plan says will be most effective in this community and tell them, you need to be in Springfield because. That's what I will do immediately upon being sworn in as mayor of the city of Springfield. Thank you.
Mayor Houston, it is now early May. You have been sworn in for your 4th term as mayor. What are your plans?
Actually, that has a very nice ring to it. And I'd tell Paul that the chair in the mayor's office is the same chair I sat in when I was in office before. Let me start off. I'd like to introduce my wife, Carolyn. Carolyn, would you stand up for a moment? Carolyn and I have been married 48 years. We have 2 adult daughters. We have a 7-year-old granddaughter. I grew up in Springfield. My father was a letter carrier here for 26 years, served 4 years with the Navy during World War II, and was able to retire with 30 years of service. My mother was a visiting nurse and retired after 20 years with the Visiting Nurses Association. My first home in the city of Springfield was in the John Hay homes. When my father returned from World War II, because like other veterans, they really had no money, and they lived in public housing till they could afford to buy a house and get a down payment, which was over by 8th and Vine. I tell you that just to give you an idea of sort of what my background is. I think everyone realizes that I served as mayor of the city of Springfield from 1979 to 1987. In the 24 years in between, I was in the banking business. I retired from Town and Country Bank as the chairman, president, and CEO of the bank. I actually have more than 25 years' experience in CEO positions. You say, well, why is that important? The city of Springfield has 1,435 employees. Our overall budget is $600 million. If you compare what I've been doing to the city treasurer's office, which has 12 people, or the county auditor's, which has a total of 3 people, having that CEO experience is extremely important. You know, people have a tendency to say, well, the dollars aren't important. If you're going to have job retention, job creation, if you are going to do infrastructure, if you are going to protect your neighborhoods, one of the things that you have to do is have the dollars to be able to do the things that impact the quality of the life of the people of the city of Springfield. So as mayor, I'm going to continue to maintain the financial stability of this community. We have worked very hard over the last 4 years to put ourselves in the position that we are in. A lot of tough decisions had to be made during that period of time. We have today about 120 less employees in city government than when I walked into City Hall. We need to continue to focus on the rail consolidation. It is absolutely critical that we move the 3rd Street tracks over to the 10th Street rail corridor. Those trains are coming. If you look at the Hansen study in the year 2010, there were 35 trains a day coming through Springfield on the 3rd, 10th, and 19th Street tracks. In the year 2030, they estimate that 81 trains a day are going to be coming through Springfield. Think about that. 81 trains a day. And they're not going to be divided between 3 tracks. They are going to be on the tracks that's designated for high-speed rail. We need to continue to implement the infrastructure programs that I put into place. Continue to get the 2nd and 3rd year of our streets and sidewalk program. Last year, we basically were doing the design work for the $100 million sewer program that we are implementing. This next year, you're going to see not only design work, you're going to see construction. That's very important to the long-term future of Springfield. We need to continue to emphasize taking back our core inner-city neighborhoods one abandoned building at a time. You know, the City Council passed an ordinance that was effective in November of 2011, and it required people that had abandoned homes that were boarded up, that had housing violations, to register with the city. Basically, it cost $2,000 a year to have that building registered. At the end of a 3-year period, if they haven't brought it up to code, the city can go into court and demolish that property. If you look at what we've done and compare it to the 3 years before I took office, from May of 2008 to May of 2011, the city of Springfield demolished 41 structures. If you look from May of 2011 to May of 2014, we took down 180. We're taking down 180 this winter. We are enforcing our building and zoning codes so that we can improve the quality of life for people who are living in those neighborhoods and keep the property values up. We need to continue to look at things such as our downtown rehabilitation. We need to continue to work with our neighborhood associations and the various groups within this community. I have a record. I'm proud of that record. I want a bigger, bolder, better Springfield.
Thank you. Thank all of you for that series. We will now do basically a wrap-up question, which I hope you might include why citizens of Springfield should vote for you for mayor. And this will be a 2-minute response, and we will start with Treasurer Langfelder.
Thank you again for having us. As a senior in high school, that's when my dad first ran for Streets Commissioner. So from 1979 to today, I've been following city government probably closer than anybody on this stage. And what I've watched is us to go from a commission form, and then when my dad was mayor, he transcended it from the commission form to the current form of government. I saw the strengths of the commission form and the weaknesses, the same with the current form. And what I've also noticed, and what I've learned, is from watching each of the mayors. I've learned what they've done well and what they haven't done so well. And what irritates me and why I've decided to run for mayor, because I have the sincere desire and passion to do what's best for Springfield. It's time. We are the home of Abraham Lincoln. To still be talking about race relations in the home of Abraham Lincoln, for me, it's almost embarrassing. We should be the model city for all to follow with regards to race relations. But that's the direction I'm going to take. It's not about Jim Langfelder. It's about our future, what we can do for our future. So what I intend to do is make cultural, systematic changes to city government, so it doesn't matter if Jim Langfelder's sitting in that chair or whoever's sitting in that chair after me, we do raise the level for our city, for our kids and our children's children, because that's what it's all about. A lot of these individuals are correct. Whenever someone is suffering, we all suffer. We need to build up everybody collectively. To accomplish our greatest achievements, we have to work together. And the individual I believe can do that the best is myself. I grew up in a family of 13. I know how to get along with others at an early age. It's in my DNA. I've been a community advocate. I've worked in the private sector. And in my vision, which I laid out, and if you could go to langfelder2015.com, you can see it there as well. But I would appreciate your vote so all of us can move forward together. Please vote for Jim Langfelder for the city of Springfield, the future which is best for Springfield. Thank you.
Auditor Palazzola.
For decades, Springfield has been home to generations of families, and these days, not so much. While we may want to celebrate milestones like having reached 117,000 in population, the celebration is mixed because our population growth rate lags behind our central Illinois competitors like Bloomington Normal and Champaign-Urbana. We need to be able to do something about that. We need to be able to attract new businesses, new jobs, new residents, and existing residents to either retain their home in the city of Springfield or attract them to move to the city of Springfield. Now, many of you here in the front didn't see the class of this year's Sangamon CEO come in. They're with us here in the upper balcony. And Sangamon CEO is a reflection of what I would like to accomplish by serving as mayor of the city of Springfield. I give full credit to what Bruce Summer and Brant Mackey are accomplishing with the program like Sangamon CEO, but as mayor, I want to also reach into the young people of our community and build them into the sense of loyalty and family and opportunity that we can generate here right in their hometown. I've had a chance to serve as an advisor to many young people over the years in the Key Clubs at Southeast High School and at Sacred Heart Griffin High School. One of those young people is Patrick Flattery. He's in Sangamon CEO, and he's sitting right up there. And another young individual who I served as an advisor for in 1989, Tim Eggleston, is sitting right here. These young people are individuals whom I've had an opportunity to work with, and I understand what young people might be looking for in opportunities and why they would want to return to Springfield. Serving as mayor involves efficiently and effectively delivering city services and managing city government. Leadership as mayor requires elevating what we can do as a great city by encouraging current residents and potential residents to believe in what Springfield can be and what it offers. Thank you.
Alderman Simpson.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out to be with us this morning. Understand that this election is not about sound bites. It's not about familiar relationships. It's not about patting yourself on the back in terms of what you've done at the exclusion of the city council. This election is about people. It's about how we can best provide for the citizens of Springfield. It's about having a reason to give young people to come back to the city. We have to deal with the people we have here first before we start talking about increasing our population. I have a 29-year-old daughter who has no desire to come back to Springfield because there's nothing here for her. I was at a neighborhood association meeting, and an elderly lady says to me, well, we have parks, we have theater. That's not going to bring young people back to the city. We have to give them a reason to come back here. And we cannot continue to we keep electing the same people that tell us the same thing, and we don't have a different result. The mayor doesn't understand, obviously, and hopefully these other individuals will understand, that the mayor does not operate in a vacuum. There are 10 other individuals who sit on the city council who help govern the city. You have to build a relationship with those individuals or nothing will get accomplished. As mayor, I can put as many ordinances together as I want to, but if I don't have at least 6 of those aldermen, nothing's going to get accomplished, nothing. If I veto anything that those aldermen put forth, if I don't have at least 8, nothing's going to get accomplished. We have to make this a race about the citizens of Springfield and not about us as individuals.
Mayor Houston.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share the reasons why I want to continue to serve as mayor. I don't need to remind you of my record. In fact, no one disputes my record. No one disputes that I've turned around the city's finances. No one disputes that I've returned professionalism to city management. No one disputes the infrastructure programs I've set in place to make this city more livable and more workable. No one disputes that jobs are coming back and that we have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the state. I don't just have a vision for Springfield. Part of my job is creating a vision right now. My vision for Springfield is one of a work in process, and I'm asking for the opportunity to finish the work that I've started. I am a proven leader with a proven record. My opponents say that they can do what I'm doing, but can they really? As mayor, I will continue to do what we've got to do. We need to continue to rebuild our streets, sidewalks, and sewers. care for the most vulnerable in our community, improve our safety, keep our cost of living low, and create a great economy in Springfield so that anyone who wants a job will have many to choose from. There's more work to be done, and that's why I need your support and vote one more time to keep the momentum going. I am Mayor Mike Houston, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
I'm not going to say what everybody wants to hear or what we usually hear. If you look over the years in the political arena, it has been the same thing over and over and over. Not for years, but for decades. Where we have classes of people, that stay on certain sides of town, that is not getting true equality. We write equality in our handbooks, we write equality on our city literature, but is it true equality? When are we going to be willing to sacrifice to be able to really help the city of Springfield where everybody is getting help, where the city truly has prosperity together? If you think about when a school wins a state championship, in the city itself, it's energy. Everybody is together. Restaurants are empowered. Businesses are empowered. That's the type of energy that we have to create in Springfield. We talk about the money. The money is not all, the money is all, it's there. The money is always there. The question is, if we ask a certain side of town to be involved in the financial, how can they be involved in certain financial situations if they have no money on their side of town to start with? If their side of town, if another side of town has majority of the money, the only way that we can be able to work together to be able to empower a certain side of town is we have to be in some type of unity together for that to work. I'm not here to ask you to vote for me. If you want to vote for me, vote for me. But what I am asking everybody in this room and everybody on this stage is that after this election is over, after the primary is over, that we continue to work together and we continue to build this energy that we have. Because currently, right now, it's a diversity of people up here, and we have energy going, but let's keep it going so we can continue to leave a legacy in Springfield forever for the future of kids and people like a generation up there above. Let's work together.
That concludes our program this morning. I want to thank Mayor Houston, Mr. Johnson, Treasurer Langfelter, Auditor Palazzolo, and Alderman Simpson. Would you please give a nice round of applause for being with us this morning? And thank you for joining us this morning.